Learning how to learn. Memory and timing. This is a graph that shows what happens right after you've finished learning. So you can see the shape of it, and I've put a couple of arrows on there. So when do you think that your memory starts to take that nosedive? How long do you think it is before you get down to that point where you only remembering about a quarter of what you started with? Did that shock you? Look at that. It only takes about 10 minutes for that information to start going out of your mind. And by the end of a day, it's almost gone. You've only got about a quarter of what you learned. Just to explain the fact that it goes up a bit before it goes down, that's because your brain needs a little bit of time to process what you've been learning. So after you stop learning and you give your mind a bit of a break, it actually starts to make connections and to make it more solid in your mind. But the important thing we're learning here is that we need to review, and we need to do it early on. And look what can happen. So if at 10 minutes or so after you've finished learning, you just go back and take a quick look and review what you've been learning, then you can keep that learning up at that high level until at least a day, and then it starts to nosedive. So then if you revise again at 1 day mark, then you can keep that for about a week before it starts to go again. Tony Buzan, who is a memory expert, says that for 1 hour period of study, the optimal intervals and time limits for review after the study are as follows. So after 10 minutes, take a 10-minute review. After 24 hours, take a 2 to 4 minute review. After a week, take a 2-minute review. After a month, take a 2-minute review. After 6 months, take another 2-minute review, and then after a year, take a 2-minute review. The information will then be stored in the long-term memory. Now, you're an individual, so I'm not disputing what Tony has to say, but you need to experiment and find out exactly what those time periods are that you need to make sure that you retain that precious learning that you've worked so hard for.